Howdy folks, welcome to today's video, which is of course electronics repair, because that's what this channel has always been about, right? Yeah. So I've got I've got a mouse. I've actually got a couple of these, and they basically, after a few years, the micro switch that does the clicking starts to die, and this one is flaking out now, where sometimes it just stops. When you're trying to hold it down, it doesn't stay held down, which can be really fun on a desktop. You know, you're like dragging something across the desktop and you just drop it in the garbage or somewhere that you didn't even see because you weren't looking when it, you know, unclicked and it you know, declicked and everything. So what we're going to do is we're going to take out these screws. These are all underneath the plastic things. So you're going to want a little flat blade screwdriver, and there we go. You're going to want a little flat blade screwdriver so that you can get these little pieces off the bottom, the little whatever they would call them. But yeah, the things that rub on the desk that basically wear out over time. But yeah, so what's really going to blow your mind is how am I doing stuff? How did I start recording if I don't have a mouse, right? And the answer is, I have another one. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to open this up, and I'll show you how to do that. So there are screws here. Let me see. Let's get a good angle here. So there are screws here and here, and then here and here, and then there's one there, and there's one there. So I'm going to pop these out, and I'll speed through this, and I'll be right back. Okay, we've got all of those out, and so you can actually take this off if you want to, but set these aside so you don't lose them. The other thing is you'll want a very, very sharp screwdriver. I'll put these over to the side here. You want a very sharp tip on the screwdriver because I've used like those little eyeglass repair kits. I'll show you these ones with these little things, and they suck. The tips on them aren't strong enough, and they're not sharp enough. So the one that's actually small enough to fit in there is so tiny that it just breaks off when you try to get that. So this should just come right off. Yep, no problem. And we have this right here. These are the switches that fail. I'm not sure why this is so out of focus. It's terrible. All right, but these are the switches that fail over time. There's a little dust in there too, huh? Just a little. But yeah, so this one is still good. The right click is still good. The left click is the one that fails because obviously, you know, it gets a zillion times as much activity as everything else. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the old mouse. Now, the reason I'm doing this, by the way, is because I love this mouse and I don't want to have to switch to a new type of mouse. And these things are eventually going to be, you know, they're going to stop manufacturing these, and then that's going to be a problem. But yeah, so I want to make these last as long as I can, so hopefully I won't have to switch mice for another 10 years, right? So anyway, we want to switch back to our little hand screwdriver, and what we're going to do is we're going to take out these screws on the circuit board. We're going to take out this one here, and I believe there's another one on the other side over here. Yeah. Okay, so if you can see it, it is right here. So we'll take out that one. I'm going to take these two out also, just so that I can get the top out of the way. So let me do that real quick. Oh, and there is a third screw right here. So there's three of them to take this out, the little battery piece. Okay, so we have this. We can get this out of the way. We can even unplug this. So very gently unplug this with our fingers, one or the other. It should come out. Let's try on the other side. Maybe not. Does that need to push in? I don't think it does. There we go. Okay, so that comes out. It was a little fiddly. Blow this off so that we don't have so much dust in there in our way. Now you can take this out if you want. I think I'm going to leave it on for right now because I don't want to mess with trying to get it back on. Those things can be kind of fiddly getting them back into place, at least in my experience. I don't know. Most of my electronics work was before all these super micro components existed. I did some surface mount, but not that much. And definitely not these little ribbon cables. That particular style of them anyway. Okay, so we have all of this. You want to make sure you leave, whoops, the button. I went to pull some hairs off of that. But yeah, make sure you leave the button and the little reflector in place. And I think the button goes this way. Or does it go the other way? It might go the other way. Let's see. Yep, okay. So if you get that button out of there and it's not in focus, that's the way it goes back in. All right, make sure you make sure you pay attention to when you're taking that stuff apart. That's one of the reasons that it's nice to take video of what you're doing, because then you can like look back at the video and not only see what an idiot you are, but you know what things you did. So what we're going to do is we're going to, this is the one that I want to put the good switch into. So we're going to take this switch out, and that is these three holes here. So we're going to hook that up on a whatchamacallit and use a soldering iron. And actually I'm going to do the removal of the other one, which I've already opened up because there's no point in trying to do it twice, right? Trying to show you twice. So this is the old one. This is the switch we want to remove from the board. I figure I can probably remove this one first because it'll be, you know, if I screw something up, I could probably buy another one of these switches by itself. So yeah, there's the part number on the side. D2FC, yeah, or 0567C21, whatever it is, whichever way. But yeah, you can order that part. I'll see if I can remember to put a there. How's that? See if we can get the, there we go. Okay, so that's the part number on that in case you need to order it, right? And I don't know if the other one, actually the other one isn't the same, is it? Is it? Yeah, it's the same. Okay, so anyway, we're going to see if we can desolder this. Let me get my solder rig set up and I'll be back in a second. Okay, we've got everything set up here for soldering. And so what I have here is I have a pliers with a couple rubber bands on it, just lightly pinching, just enough to hold on to it, lightly pinching this switch so that basically when we get the solder melted, it's pulling on it. So we can hopefully pull it out the holes that way. So we'll see if we can get that, see if we can get a nice heat bridge here and get at least 2 of them and possibly 3. What you can do is if your soldering iron isn't long enough, you can just kind of rub it back and forth and the heat will hopefully, there you go. See, you can keep it hot enough, long enough. It'll stay hot for a second. So we've got that one out. This is our good one. We need to make sure that we sit it aside where we know that that's the good one. And then we're going to swap boards here. So that's our good mouse, and we can get rid of that. And for now anyway, we're going to keep the board. And then we're going to do the same deal on this one except with this one here. So we're going to put this on the holder. I think I'm just going to stick it on the holder here. And let's see if we don't have any, no, we don't have anything sensitive, it looks like. We don't have anything sensitive there. So we should be able to do something similar. And actually it looks like I'll be able to do this without screwing up the things. So I can probably apply pressure this way. So we'll see. We can get a little bit of heat going on this. And see if we can, you know what, let me move this over a little bit so you can see a little bit better. We are right here. Yep. Okay. So we'll see if we can get our heat bridge going again. Get some fresh solder on here. There we go. Try not to, whoops, there you go. It just fell out on its own, just through gravity. Okay, so this is the bad one. We need to make sure that we put it in the right direction. Polarity matters, right? So this is the bad one. Let's set that over here. And then we're going to examine this. So the good one, the little notch goes to the front. If you can see that. See if we can get a good angle on there. There we go. So yeah, and the little switch goes toward the front. So what we want to do is we want to take this one, and we should probably clean out the holes on this too. Clean the solder out of these so that we can get them in there. So let me get some solder remover. I suddenly can't remember the name of it. But yeah, the stuff that wicks up the solder. Solder wick, that would be the word for it. Yeah, let me get some solder wick and clean that out. And my solder wick is missing. So I'm going to try this and see if we can get this to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to heat up the solder and melt it, and then we're going to, there you go. And see if we can get this one out. We actually only need to get 2 of them cleared. Let's see if this one will do it. There you go. Don't try this at home, right? All right, and let's try one more here because this one didn't clear out completely. There we go. Okay, so we can heat up, whoops, RIP headphone users. All right, we can heat up the middle one and put this in. And like I said, we need to make sure that that's toward the front. So we're going to get this aligned and gently put that through while we heat up our solder, if we can. I don't think the back is aligned. Let me see. Let's put this down for a second. I don't think the back piece is lined up quite enough. I think it's just that there's still a little bit of solder in there, so we may need to heat it up to get it to move. Or it's because there's solder on the, yeah, it's because there's still solder on the things. Okay, on the leads. So what we can do is we can try to clean this off, or we can just heat it up the way we did with the other one. So let's get a bunch of solder on here. Not too much, but enough that we can reach all 3 of them at the same time, and we'll see if we can put it on the same way we took it off. So I'm going to give this a second to cool off so that the component doesn't overheat. I don't want to overheat the switch and melt the plastic or anything like that. So we're going to let this cool for a minute, and then we'll, is it, yeah, it's not hot now. Okay, we'll see if we can get all 3 of these like we did before. Let's see, it's just at a bad angle, isn't it? Let's see if we can get a better angle here. Like this. And you can still see. Okay, good. And we'll see if we can do this without burning my thumb, right? So I'm applying just a little bit of pressure. Just a little bit of pressure. Upward pressure. There we go. There, it's going through. Nice. Okay. Now hopefully I didn't burn the contact on the back. It almost looks like it did. Yeah, it did. I think I overheated the contact on the back. All right. And it's the risk you take. Okay, I could have used a heat gun, but the risk with the heat gun is you heat up all the components too. So we can probably figure out where that contact goes to and connect it if it needs it. But I can test this mouse first and see if it's actually working correctly. So let me try that and we'll see what happens. Maybe that contact is just holding it in place and it's not actually needed. So let me check, and let me put this soldering iron away, and then we'll check it and we'll see what we can do. All right, so we've got a multimeter here, and I've got it on the sound thing, and I believe I have to hit select. There we go. Okay, so when there's a connection, when there's contact, we do that. It does that. So I want to check and see. That's open. That's normally closed. Oh, no, I was touching that. Okay. All right. So this here, no, this here is the positive. It's one of the, or the positive or the ground, whichever. All right, so what we want to do is we want to check and see if I can do this. I need one hand to do both of these and the other one to push the button. Wish me luck. See if this should be open and it should go to closed. I'm hoping that'll, I need to work on my chopsticks skills, but I'm not lefty with chopsticks, so. Okay, it's these two? Yeah, because this doesn't do anything anyway. Good. So this one wasn't needed, it looks like. There we go. Cool. All right. So yeah, it's these two are the ones that are used. This one appears not to be used. So hopefully it's in good shape. And so what I'm going to need to do is actually, if you can see from the side, which you probably can't, see if we can see on this camera a little bit better. You can see from the side it's not completely down. So I just need to get it the rest of the way down. And hopefully I can do that without cooking it too much again, right? Without destroying the other contacts, the ones that are actually used. See if we can get that to happen. There we go. All right, and let's see if we put this back in here. If we put this back in here, what happens to the, it's that right there. It's that little tab. See where we can get that in there. Yeah, it seems like it's did I grab those from the wrong holes? Did I really do that? Yeah, I did. I put it in the wrong place, didn't I? I put it back on the same side that I took it off from, right? I totally did. Okay. All right, so I need to take the other side out. Let's go back. Polarity matters, is that what I said? All right. It also matters which side which would be polarity, right? Also matters which side you put it back on. Okay, so we've got this one. This is the one we took out. This is when we took out of that one. Because, yeah, we only have 2 good mouse buttons between all of these. So I need to take that one out of there. All right, let me heat up my soldering iron. All right, I think it's heated up. Let's see. Yep, we've got a little bit here. Let's get our heat bridge set up. Should be this one here. Let me double check and make sure I've actually got the right component. It's this one here. It's just weird because it seems like, okay, those two are individual poles. Okay, I don't see, oh, it's the side of that. Okay, it's the side of that. All right, so it is these 3 up here. Just making sure. Measure once, solder, or measure twice, solder once, right? Okay, so what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to pull this as we go once I get the heat bridge going here. Let's get our heat bridge so we can get this out of here. All right, and so instead of moving that one, we're just going to take this one out and replace it with the other one. The one that we took out over here is the other good one that was in here, so that's what's sitting there. All right, so now I've got my fingers underneath there pulling on that. And I mean, the last one just came out with gravity, so we'll see. There we go. The other trick you can do sometimes is if you're accurate enough, you can push with the soldering iron. It's not wanting to move. There we go. You can actually push it with the soldering iron. The other thing you can do is have, yeah, I'm going to burn my thumb if I keep doing that. The other thing you can do is you can have multiple soldering irons on it at the same time. Not sure why it doesn't want to come out this time. All right, let's see if we can. It may be that the soldering iron is still not quite hot enough. But let me see if I can get this back on here. I don't know if I can do it on this piece because it's very in there. You can do this. Again, you just want a little bit of, you don't want like super strong tension on this. You just want a little bit, you know, just enough to keep it from slipping out, not enough that you're like breaking the part. So we'll see if we can get this underneath there, pulling on it. Whoops. And this is the entertainment value of this video. All right. If you're trying to learn how to solder stuff, you're on the wrong channel. All right, you're trying to learn how to become a professional bench technician, you're doing it wrong. All right. Although I was one for a short while. Okay. Go like this. See if we can get it to... nope. Just the pliers. We got the pliers to fall. We'll try it again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this up in the air maybe. No, that's still not going to work because I need an extra hand. This is the trick, is you need enough hands to do all this. So I'm going to hold this up here. Let me try adjusting our angle here. There we go. Let's see if we can get this to work. It almost did. It moved it a little bit. It moved. We'll try this again. Yep. Nope, the pliers don't have enough grip. Okay. We'll have to see if we've got something else that can pull on that. Maybe this. Maybe I can put this on it. On pulling duty. Nope, because the other components are in the way. I think the other components are going to be in the way and it's not going to be able to pull. Nope, it's not going to be able to pull. It doesn't have a grip either. Alright, we'll try this again. It did pull a little bit. I just need to not wiggle around. See if we can get this to be on camera at the same time. I know, it's tricky, right? Alright, there we go. See if we can do this. You ready? Get that one too. Need to get all three contacts at the same time. There we go. Alright, we got it. And then we're going to use our same trick. So this is the bad one. I need to make sure I set this where it's way out of the way so we know that's the bad one. And then we need to clear out these holes. Same way we did last time. I don't know if my straw is still in a good enough shape to be used like that, but we'll see. How to make do with whatever equipment you have, right? All right. I just don't want to blow the solder into the mouse is the trick here. So we're going to come back down here with our camera. So we can see better. There we go. All right. See if we can get this to There's one. The trick is I need to get the solder off of the I need to get the solder off the posts too. That's what happened last time. That's why it stuck and I had to overheat it to try to get it through the hole. There's two. I know I'm bumping into the camera. And let's see if we can get this last one. If we can get it to there. There we go. Okay, we got all three of those cleaned up. Let's see if we can get the solder off of these contacts, because yeah, especially this one right here has a bunch of it on there. So hopefully we can melt it and enough of it will stick to the iron, because I don't have my solder wick. For some reason. See if we can at least get it to smooth out so that we can stick it through. Got a little bit more off there. Okay, let's see if this will go through the hole. Again, this is pointing to the front. So we'll see if this will go through the holes before we melt all the solder, right? There we go. All right, and this will actually go all the way in. Oh, that's beautiful. That's perfect. Okay, so I just need to hold this in place again. And it looks like it's going to want to stay nice and tight in there. Let's double check and make sure, because this is upside down. Let's make sure before I solder this in place. Yes, it's pointing forward. Right? When have I ever screwed anything up, you know, and done anything backwards? Did they buy it? Yeah, I don't think they bought it. All right. So we're just going to put this on. Get a little bit of heat bridge here. I mean, this thing is so tiny, you don't really need it. There we go. That's much better. That's the way you solder, not the way I did it the first time. It's been a few years. Okay? Give me a break. It's like riding a bike. Okay, so we have that back in place. And then what we need to do is we need to put this back together. So we need to get this bottom. I think we're done with the straw for now. So we need to get this bottom, and let's make sure the switch is in the right place. Yeah. Green when it goes right. Yep. Okay. I think you can see that maybe. There we go. All right. So it's always good to have a known good, right? And this was off. It was in the on position right there. Okay, so we need to get the mouse or the control board onto here, which is going to be this way. Put this back on here. And our mouse holes, our screw holes line up. Do they line up? This is important to get this in the right place, because this goes through the lens. Your little laser or whatever, your LED thing goes through the lens. So it kind of matters. Right? And we'll get this screwed back in and put back together. So I will do that, and I'll be back in a second. All right, we've got that screwed back in. We're going to put these 3 screws in and plug this back in, the battery back in. And so yeah, we'll screw these in, and then we can close it up, try to screw the rest of them in, and then test it. And actually, I think what I'll do is I'll test it before I close up the case, because we need to make sure the buttons work, right? So we'll go like this and get one more here. These screws appear to all be the same, so it doesn't seem to be that important to separate them out. They're all the same length and everything. Okay, so I need some batteries. We'll grab a couple. I'll just use these because I know they're good. I have a bunch of rechargeables, and I normally use rechargeables, but we'll just throw these in because we're not going to use them for very long anyway. It looks like my ON/OFF switch is misaligned, doesn't it? You know what? I gotta take this back off, and that screw just went flying. There. I gotta take this back off and fix that switch first. See if we can do that. All right, let me do that. I'll be right back. Okay, we've got all that closed up. Let's try the batteries for real this time. See what else I can screw up, right? Okay, it just seems like it's still a little loose. No, maybe it's just a button. Okay, it's just a button. All right, so I'm gonna plug this in instead of my current mouse. Take the current mouse out of the USB, plug in, and this should show up. It should be, well, the power's on it, yeah. If I can find my mouse cursor, where'd my mouse cursor go? I don't see my mouse cursor anywhere. So I must be doing something horribly wrong. Where is the mouse cursor? There it is. Okay. I think we got the optical messed up or something because it's not moving. My mouse cursor is not moving on the screen. Let me see if I can click. Yep, when I right click. Okay, the 2 clicks work. So I just need to get the optic thing set back up. I'm sure that's what it is. Is this little thing on the bottom needs to be aligned correctly with whatever it is. So I'm sure I did something horribly wrong when I put that back on. So I'm going to mess around with that and I'll see if I can get working, and I'll be right back. You know what? I don't know if you can see this or not. See if this will be visible. Let's try on this one. But there's a tiny little hair on the lens. Tiny little hair on the lens, and I'll bet that's what's keeping it from doing it. It's one of those little pieces of fur or whatever that was stuck in there. And I'll bet that's what's doing it, because that's the brightest spot or whatever it's doing. That hasn't moved, right? Let me see if I've got tweezers over here that'll grab it. All right, let's see if we can do this. I got some tweezers. See if I can yank that hair out of there, or at least break it, because I don't want to have to unscrew this and take it apart again. I should have cleaned it out better before I started putting it back together, but you know, coulda, shoulda, woulda. There it is. All right, tiny little hair. See if that'll make a difference on here. Go back to this. Put this down. It really doesn't like it. It'll click, but it doesn't want to move. All right, so I'm gonna have to mess around with the optical on this and see if, because normally it should just move. Yeah, something's going on. I think the board is loose or whatever. All right, let me check it out and I'll be right back. All right, looks like I got it aligned. It's working, and so yeah, I can turn it back off and put everything back together. All right, well, it's all finished up, and so the only thing I have to do is then just put these flaps back on, and then it'll be good to go. So I hope you enjoyed the video. It's totally on topic for this channel, so make sure to you know, hit the dislike and rage quit and unsubscribe and leave a nasty comment how this is totally not what you subscribe for, and we'll see you in the next video, or not. Right? Later.